Good evening, I'm thinking Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. From contractors to congressmen and senators, the list of names linked to the flood control scandal continues to grow. But as the investigation deepens, so too does the rift between the two chambers of Congress. What does this power struggle mean for the probe? And who bears the greatest responsibility in this scandal? Let's get on point with former Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Winnie Monsod. Professor Monsod, good to have you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Good evening to your viewers.
Good evening. First of all, I wanted to get your reaction on Senator Chis Escudero's privileged speech yesterday, pointing to Congressman Martin Romualdez as the one supposedly behind this script, or yung tinatawag niya nga pong sarsuela, to divert attention na flood project anomalies from congressmen to senators. Was that a valid point?
I don't think so. I mean, first because this is the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. It's the Ethics Committee. And the senators are supposed to look at themselves first before they look at other people. That's how I take it. It is incumbent on the House to investigate their members. Now, the Senate can investigate the House members if the House is not doing well. I mean, doing well at this thing. But the senators first, I think, should concentrate on what is rotten in their chamber before they, it's like before you look at the mote in your neighbor's eye, you better look in your eye first.
So you're saying that the Senate should be investigating their co-senators and congressmen should be investigating co-congressmen or congresswomen?
Before they investigate the other, and allow the other house, the lower house, to investigate themselves. Because as of now, the lower house seems to have stopped investigating, and since they have stopped investigating, then the Senate, the Blue Ribbon Committee, can investigate those people.
Were there points Senator Chis Escudero made that actually made sense to you?
Well, all these people are first pleading not guilty, but Senator Chis Escudero has changed the game. He says he didn't say anything about his guilt or innocence, but he did say somebody is guiltier. So I guess that implies that he may have some guilt. And it's clear naman. It's clear to everybody in the Philippines, except to the senators and the congressmen themselves, that the ones who bear the most burden of the guilt from what has come out in the investigation so far are the senators and congressmen. But in particular, the senators and congressmen who did not follow the process of the proper choosing of projects, because there's a process, Pinky. At least when I was a secretary of NEDA, I knew that there was a process. The infrastructure program of the government was based on the recommendations for projects given by the development councils, meaning to say barangay development councils,
right,
provincial. So to me it should be very, very easy to find out first what were the anomalous projects, and second, who were the ones who proposed those projects. It should be easy. Where do you get that information from? From the House of Representatives or from the Senate? As of now, neither the Senate nor the House of Representatives has been very enthusiastic about giving that information.
Will we be able to find out really who are the proponents of the particular projects of all over the Philippines? Because that's exactly what Congressman Toby Tiangco was asking. sino yung mga proponents. And I do believe that there is a list. But to look at it on a holistic way, whether it is the proponents are senators or congressmen, are we going to find out? And then let me do a follow-up question on that. And if we find out, does that necessarily mean that it is illegal or may nakuha or may kickback?
That is, first, you have to build your evidence, your database. You want to find out who were the proponents, where these projects were, etc. That can easily be gotten from the records of the House of Representatives and from the records of the Senate, either from there or the bicameral committee, which is in there, or the small committee. That should be very easy. And of course, obviously, if the project is in a particular place, you know who is the congressman from that particular place. I mean, it's not rocket science, right? Then you follow your checklist of questions. One, were these projects properly processed? In other words, were they recommended by the local development committees? In my time, the congressman was not a member of the local development committee, but now the congressman is there. So you want to find out whether the infrastructure program of the local development committees or the regional development committee has the project. If not, if it's not there, then there's already a warning flag. If it's there, then you can say who is the proponent, who is the one there. Then if the proponent is there, that's already the start of your investigation. That's with respect to who is responsible.
Okay. Let me just ask you about the possible problem or concern that if we take that particular direction, go to, for example, Bulacan, look at a project there, check who the proponent is. Professor, papaano po pag sinabing, I had no idea, wala akong kaalam-alam dyan, dito ho lumalabas yung mga salitang parking and yung pong pass-through.
You know, okay, so if he had no idea, what does that say of him as the congressman of his district? Either it's a project that is being built, infrastructure, and he has no idea who proposed it. That means he is either incompetent or something else. Is it not? I mean, ano sasabihin ng kongresista, wala akong kaalam-alam dyan, gago siya. Right? If he is not corrupt, he's very incompetent and should not be elected by the people again.
Somehow, when...
Yeah, just go ahead.
Sorry about that. Somehow, after all these hearings, at least in my opinion, when I look back, there are a lot of things that I've actually forgotten from the start of the Senate hearings, and even, well, at least the House hearings, dalawa lang po yung House hearings if I'm not mistaken. Do you feel though that at some point, parang nagkakaroon na po ng labo-labo? Because right now, today, as we speak, it appears it's about the Senate versus the House. And I want to circle back to when this actually started. This started when the President called out everyone and said, mahiya naman kayo. Subsequently, nagkaroon po ng website na sumbong sa Pangulo. Thereafter, there was a privileged speech by Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson talking about substandard and ghost projects. And he talked about Bulacan and called it the most notorious province for flood control projects. If we were to, parang para ho sa akin kasi parang nakalimutan po yung Bulacan eh. And who should have been the proponents of Bulacan? Would you care to comment on that?
I think, Pinky, you are, mistaking the trees, the forest for the trees. In other words, there are so many details, right? You've forgotten all, but we have tended to forget what the main problem is. The main problem is, one, corruption, and two, substandard or ghost projects. just because there is corruption does not mean that projects are substandard or ghost. It depends, right? But those are the two problems: the corruption. Now we know from the current investigation so far that there is tremendous corruption in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. I mean, involving both the House of Representatives and the Senate. Why? Because the general appropriations budget comes from them. So any item they must be responsible for. All right. So that's it. So we have also known that how much is their percentage share, 25 to 30% so far. The congressional proponent, that is by far the biggest amount of Congress, and we know for sure that amount goes to certain congressmen, certain senators. Now you have to find out who are these congressmen and senators. That's when you do the long, dirty work. All right? They are involved. Itong mga fight nila, he's at fault and he has the bigger problem. The point is they're all at fault, or most of them. And we have to find out exactly who are involved.
Are we getting there?
Of course we are going to get there one way or the other. I mean, I am assuming that the ICI is truly independent and will get the total cooperation of both houses of Congress, because the houses of Congress have all those details, Pinky. Ngayon lang, pinakikinggan natin mga kontratista at mga DPWH. Hindi pa natin pinapakinggan ng mga senators at congressmen. Ngayon, all of them deny it, of course. They will never accept it, like at least what's his name, Bernardo, at least Undersecretary Bernardo, at least talagang accepted his fault and decided to share what he knows about the fault of others. I have not heard any single senator or congressman say, yeah, actually, I am at fault either directly or indirectly or whatever. None. All of them have said that their hands are clean. But we all know from the investigation and those heaps of money on the table, that those heaps of money went to congressmen and representatives. So they're not. We know that they're not going to say, they're not going to admit it. Out of hand. We're going to have to do the investigation, and that's what the investigation committee, the ICI, is supposed to be doing. Now, whether that ICI is independent or not, there are questions already. So you're going to ask, so who do we depend on finally? Diba?
Right.
Who are we going to bring this up? You know what my answer is? The citizens. All these projects take place in particular areas. All right? We call on the citizens of those areas. Check on them, please. This is for the second problem, the substandard or ghost projects. We're going to call citizens.
Point well taken, Professor, because actually there's a number of members of the public, the citizenry, na nagsusumbong ho, especially since the President opened that website, yung Sumbong sa Pangulo, because now we are given a chance to actually participate, and this is just not going to end. It's not supposed to end with flood control projects. As mentioned in the past, we should also look at roads, cat's eyes, barriers, etc., not rock netting, and so much more. But we need to take a very short break. We'll continue our discussion with former Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Winnie Monsod when we return. Stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome Welcome back. Still with us, former Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Winnie Monsod. Professor, I wanted to also find out from you, from all the hearings that we have seen, that we have monitored, we've heard, in your opinion, what is the strongest testimony that would actually point to any politician that has been said in the past?
All those testimonies are not all true, hindi ba? There are some true parts, there are some false parts, because they have everybody has a motive. Everybody has. What is important? Are you asking me which witnesses I find to be credible?
Right. Who among the witnesses, in your opinion, seems to appear or appears to be the most credible?
Bernardo appears to be credible. I mean, because he has admitted fault. The others first said they claimed they were innocent, and then when it was clear that they were guilty, then they decided to cooperate. But Bernardo and Hernandez, and later Alcantara, when he decided to finally face the music, they all seem to have the same story. All right. Now the Gutarce, the Marine, seems credible, but I mean, Mike Defensor, who was the one who found him and led him to Marcoleta, has problems with respect to this witness thing. I mean, Mike Defensor has a history of either influencing witnesses or training witnesses or making witnesses disappear. At least that's what I read, and that's what I have been reminded of. By now, who else? Well, Mr. Marcoleta, Senator Marcoleta, has a problem. Apparently, his wife has business dealings with the
Insurance.
The Vizcayas, and Mr. Marcoleta seems to say, my wife's problem. I mean, my wife's work is her own, and my work is my own. Sorry, that doesn't that doesn't hold any water, because if that is the case, then why should anybody question Commissioner Lipana? His wife is a contratista or whatever, contractor and all. Why are they questioning Lipana? And why, if they are questioning Lipana on the basis of that, then they should be questioning Marcoleta. Marcoleta could have just so very easily, like we columnists, we say, we disclose right at the beginning, so that the public, the viewing public, can put that in, whether they, so that they can put that in when they are evaluating these testimonies. Marcoleta could have easily said, well, before we begin, I want to tell the world that my wife is the insurer of
independent director. What about the Vizcayas?
What about the Vizcayas?
What do you find them credible so far with the testimony they've given so far?
They are they're the first. They're the first. Not absolutely, but in general, their testimony seems to be correct. If, all the people they are going to mention are going to say, no, I am as innocent as the purest driven snow. Well, that's why we are all watching the hearings, and we should not just, we should not just depend on somebody who is reporting on the hearings. We should watch the hearings ourselves.
Yeah.
So we see for ourselves how credible these witnesses are. For example, during the hearing, I was really appalled at how Senator Lacson was treating Senator Marcoleta. Marcoleta was saying, this is just an investigation, and Senator Lacson, yep, I couldn't believe what I was watching. Senator Lacson has always been very accommodating to his fellow senators. Of course, he has time limits, etc. But that inter that exchange between him and Marcoleta shows that there is a problem in the Senate.
Friction. There's friction.
Friction in the Senate.
Yeah. Uh,
When Cheese Escudero was saying, you know, Martin Romualdez, etc., and nobody has brought out Martin Romualdez. Who exactly was he accusing? He was accusing his co-senators because it's the Blue Ribbon Committee. So, so everybody can see that there is this friction, but that should not remove our focus from what is going on, and we are achieving great things.
do you?
But we already know. I mean, now nobody can hide behind, there is no barrel. Now we know that Congress and the Senate have gone around the Supreme Court decision saying not prohibiting pork barrel.
Okay.
All these projects are pork barrel, di ba? In a different form.
Yeah.
I wish they would be creative for our.
Ganun din po eh. Yeah. Something that was also discussed before. It's still pork. It's still PDAF. It's the same thing. Just a follow-up on what you were saying a while ago. Number one is that the former Speaker, Martin Romualdez, and former Congressman Zaldico are going to be invited already by the Blue Ribbon Committee chaired by Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. And they will course it because there is, of course, talk about interparliamentary courtesy. It will be coursed through the Speaker, Speaker Boji D. Do you think it will be, number one, well, is it incumbent, is it important for the former Speaker, Martin Romualdez, to show up at the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing?
I want to know, was this because of Cheese Escudero's speech, or was this planned earlier?
It appears it was an interview by, I think, Net25 kay Senator Ping Lacson, and he said that the two gentlemen will be invited. I think the interview, if I'm not mistaken, was just today, if not yesterday. And I do recall Senator Ping Lacson saying that para din walang maisip na meron kaming pinoprotektahan dito.
Okay. So, in other words, is Ping Lacson finished his investigation of the senators?
It appears not.
Then I suggest that Ping Lacson wait until he's finished his investigation with the Senate, and then he goes to the House. But since he's invited, the House, what is this parliamentary courtesy? What is this parliament? What does that mean exactly? For heaven's sake, they're just inviting somebody to come in. What questioning? And if that somebody doesn't come in, that itself tells a story, right?
What do you think of Zaldico?
He was a chairman. He was a chairman of the Appropriations
Right.
Committee. He was very powerful. Imagine, he was just a party-list congressman, and he became chairman of the Appropriations Committee. But, Martin must have had his own man there to sort of, nobody's going to allow Zaldico to do it just alone by himself. It's always somebody's watching you, right? So we want to know who Martin's man was in that committee.
Last question. You were saying that we should all be watching the Senate hearings. I guess also with that, when you watch it, you're also able to see body language. You're able to also form your own judgments based on what you see rather than just hearing maybe us report it. Iba ho talaga kapag napapanood. The ICI so far has no plans and has not actually allowed any of its hearings to be brought out to media, to be publicized. Do you think that they should change their minds and allow the people to actually watch their proceedings?
I don't think so, because it will just, everybody will be on high drama mode. The Senate and the House hearings are there for the people, because the people want to see what is going on. But the investigation committee, I don't think they should make their hearings public until they've gotten into their stride. Maybe later on. But certainly, as far as the public is concerned, they want to see from their congressmen and senators how these congressmen and senators are behaving, especially because these congressmen and senators are on the block themselves.
All right. Former Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Winnie Monsod, thank you so much for your time. Good to have you.
Okay.
And that's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.